Nintendo has impacted the lives of millions worldwide. Almost all of us have played one of Nintendo's games at least once in our lives. Children everywhere have always held a special place in their hearts for Nintendo, from the famous 1998 Freakout to the excitement still present today. Whee! Even adults enjoy games. According to Education Database Online, the average gamer is around 32 years old. Nintendo has become so popular that, according to David Sheff's Game Over, in 1990 the Nintendo mascot Super Mario was more recognized by American children than Mickey Mouse. 25 years later, that statement probably still holds true for some American children and most Japanese children of today. Though Nintendo has always been extremely successful, the company has been struggling some lately. Their newest console, released in 2012, the Wii U, was widely anticipated. However, its popularity did not match those of Nintendo's past creations. Their profit and revenue began to decrease from 2013 to 2014, and the company admitted that the Wii U was the cause. Fortunately, sales for this console have recently been rising, but the negative effects still linger. Some fans have lost faith in the company, and the opinions of those already critical of Nintendo have only worsened. Gamers need to remember what Nintendo has contributed to our world. Not only has the company single-handedly saved the video game market with its success, but they brought us the platforming genre and 3D gaming without the need for special glasses. What people need is a reminder of how great Nintendo once was, still is, and can be. Because of their insightful innovations and massive popularity, Nintendo has formed a path of success for today's gaming industry. Over the years, the company has contributed exciting new genres, groundbreaking technology, and much more. Before diving into what makes them so great, here's a brief history on Nintendo. Nintendo was not originally a video game company. In 1889, Fusajiro Yamauchi started making Hanafuda, or flower cards. After a few decades, these cards became popular all over Japan. Eventually, Fusajiro passed on the job in 1929 to his son-in-law Sekirio Yamauchi, who established a company out of it in 1933 by the name of Yamauchi Nintendo and Company. Some years later, Sekirio passed his presidential position to his grandson, Hiroshi Yamauchi, who later changed it to Nintendo Company Limited in 1963. Now, Nintendo's current CEO is Satoru Iwata. The name Nintendo comes from the three kanji used to make up the name, Nin, Ten, and Do. The three characters put together roughly translate to leave up to heaven, or deep in the mind we have to do whatever we have to do, or the most common translation, work hard, but in the end it is in heaven's hands. It was not until 1980 that Nintendo became involved in the games business. In that year, they began selling the portable video game Game & Watch, and released their first milestone, Donkey Kong, to arcades. Donkey Kong featured the first appearance of what became Nintendo's most widely known logo, Mario. One thing led to another, and before anyone knew it, Nintendo was skyrocketing to the top of everyone's lists. They developed more consoles and released more games over the years, their first being the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1982. The NES was followed by the Game Boy, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, the Nintendo 64, the GameCube, the DS, the Wii, the 3DS, and the Wii U. Since the release of the NES, Nintendo has sold over 4.3 billion video games and 680 million consoles worldwide, and their Mario franchise has become the most successful game series in the world, selling over 225 million so far. Now back to Nintendo's contributions, beginning with their success that saved video games. America's video game industry reached a peak in the early 1980s, with arcades popping up nationwide and many new games and consoles being developed and released. Many big-name gaming companies were making a lot of money, yet these companies hit their peak too fast, and many of them began to go out of business. New games weren't being created for almost 2 years, and the Japanese companies were slowly weeding out the American companies, thus causing America's gaming industry to fall into a recession. The biggest cause of this recession was the downfall of Atari, the biggest grossing American gaming company at that time. The company had bad business strategies, disappointing customers by releasing overhyped games before they were fully developed. They also lost some legal attempts at trying to take credit for the work of other game designers, causing those employees to leave and start their own businesses. Many other companies tried to jump at the opportunity to make money off of Atari's lost fans, but they all fell short. This recession became known as the Great Video Game Crash of 1983. It wasn't until 1985 that Nintendo saved the entire industry. 3 years after their release in Japan, Nintendo released the NES in America, which quickly gained popularity. This marked the point where Japan took the lead in the industry from America. With the debut of the NES and the growing appearance of Japanese games in American arcades, America's gaming market was saved. Without Nintendo, the industry would have taken a lot longer to redeem itself, or possibly have never revived at all. Many more people would have lost their money and their jobs, and video games would not be at the point they are today without Nintendo keeping them alive. Nintendo has also contributed an entire genre of gaming, the platformer. Platformers are games where the character must jump onto platforms and overcome obstacles to win. Nintendo created this genre through the release of its first video game, Donkey Kong, in 1980. In the game, a carpenter called Jumpman races up ladders and jumps over barrels to save his girlfriend Pauline from an ape. This game was the first of its kind, and popularity for this kind of game increased until reaching a peak with Nintendo's next successful platformer. If the NES wasn't a success enough itself, Super Mario Bros. Made it much more so. According to Game Informer magazine, Super Mario Bros. Made the Nintendo Entertainment System console a huge success, establishing nearly all of the platformer genre's important staples and even influencing the design of the games outside of the genre. This game introduced many common tropes to the platformer genre, including power-ups and unlocking levels in a diverse collection of worlds. It was the combination of Donkey Kong and Super Mario Bros., and later the advancement to 3D platformers by Super Mario 64 that brought a new, popular genre to the gaming world, all thanks to Nintendo. One of Nintendo's more recent contributions to gaming and technology is 3D gaming. 3D gaming has been done before, but never like this. At the 2010 Electronic Entertainment Expo, or E3 for short, Nintendo CEO Satoru Iwata took the stage to introduce, via a flashy presentation, the innovative portable gaming device, the Nintendo 3DS. The main selling point of the 3DS was the ability to view the game being played in 3D without the need of special glasses. This 3D effect was controlled by the 3D depth slider, allowing users to either maximize the effect, turn it off completely, or adjust it to any intensity in between. Along with this feature, the 3DS also had improved graphics, cameras, and smoother controls compared to the normal DS. This version of 3D gaming has never been done before. Nintendo has succeeded in creating a new technology for the gaming industry. Given the success that the 3DS had, selling over 13.5 million in the 2012-2013 financial year, there is no doubt that Nintendo and other companies will carry this feature over into future gaming systems. As you can see from the previous evidence, it is true that video games would not be where they are today without Nintendo. If it weren't for them, the gaming industry may not have survived the crash of 1983, and gaming trends would be completely different without the platformers that Nintendo brought to the table. And sure, maybe Sony has been working on their own 3D technology, but only Nintendo has accomplished smooth 3D gameplay without inconvenient glasses. Nintendo has always shown a lot of popularity amongst fans, and they're not showing any signs of becoming less popular in the future. They have formed a path for other gaming companies, and will continue leading other companies down that path for years to come. Who knows what Nintendo will come up with next?